You may be wondering, what does this have to do with transubstantiation and the doctrine of the Lord's presence in the Lord's Supper? The answer is much in every way. For just consider the implications of the doctrine of transubstantiation. If it is true, then what it means is that Christ's body is present all over the world every Sunday whenever the Eucharist is celebrated. That is to say, if you think wherever there's a Catholic church or an Eastern Orthodox church, in every place around the world where that is, there is the actual physical body and blood of Christ. And now remember, this is an important thing. When we think about the Lord's Supper, we're not especially talking about the divine nature of the Lord Jesus Christ. We're talking about his human nature. The elements are related particularly to the body and blood of Christ. That is to say, the human nature of the Lord Jesus Christ. And if it is the case that the elements are transformed when the words of consecration are said, then the implication is that Christ's body is now no longer only at the right hand of the Father in heaven, but also in every place around the world where the words of consecration are said. The implication of this is that the human nature of Christ has now taken on divine properties. That is to say, the human nature of Christ, his body and blood, is now in more than one place at one time. And in fact, you could say, is in some sense everywhere. It is all over the world. Now, how could this be the case? The answer is, it can't be if the theology of Chalcedon is correct, because the purpose of the Council of Chalcedon was to condemn as a heretic Eutychus, who taught that the human nature of Christ was divinized because of the incarnation. That is to say, there was a mixture of the two natures when Christ, the Son of God, became man. The doctrine of transubstantiation necessitates the theology of Eutychus, the Eutychianism, in order for it to be valid. That is to say, the human nature of Christ, every time the words of consecration are said, ends up taking on divine properties. This is to say, it is a contradiction of the theology of Chalcedon. In order for transubstantiation to be true, the theology of Chalcedon must be false and must be rejected.